Welcome everybody to the 311 Griffin YouTube channel. I've been doing DCS videos off and on for, I don't know, something like a decade. I haven't looked. But I've been trying to get views like these for years, and I've done a lot of studying on how to get these views, and I just never could work it out. Now, it's not that this information isn't out there, but I want to try to tell everyone in a really concise way specifically how to get these kinds of views using the f4 camera, and that's what this video is all about. Because I've watched a lot of 30 and 40 minute videos that have a lot of detail about how to do different camera views in DCS, and they're very, very helpful. So I'm not trying to say anything bad about those, but I really struggled to get very specific views of the things that I wanted to show in DCS to kind of spice up the videos a little bit. So that's what we're going to talk about today, very specifically how to use the f4 camera to get views in the cockpit and of little moving parts of the plane and weapons pylons and stuff like that. It's actually pretty easy, and it's really fun to mess around with. So let's get into it here. These are the keys that you will need on your keyboard to do this specific camera work. In some modules, you might need the left control F4 or the left shift F4 to get into the correct camera view to start with, but in my experience, most modules just require pressing F4 to get into that camera mode. Once you're there, you'll use the right control and right shift in combination with the number keys on the number pad to move the camera around. So with the 2, you can move down. With the 8, you can move up. With 4, you can move left. And intuitively, with 6, you can move right. I think the 5 might do some centering, but I don't remember for sure. Then with the slash, you can move the camera aft. And with the star, you can move the camera forward. You can change the field of view, narrowing it and widening it if you just use the right control and the slash and star keys like you would in most of the camera views that you have access to. So now that you know the key combinations, you can do this on your own, but we'll walk through it here real quick. So this is a replay that I've done before, so we'll go into the F4 view and see I can kind of move it around. Now, what I used to do is just move the camera first before using the mouse to spin it. Like here, I'm using the mouse to spin it around. But I think what's better if you're looking for like a backwards view is to move the mouse to where the camera is mostly pointed backwards, and then move the camera. Because if you don't, you'll wind up with just having to play with the mouse too much, and the mouse makes some like really gross movements, so you need some fine movements to get the camera exactly where you want, especially in the cockpit. Some of the cockpit views can be really difficult to get right. So I usually move the camera to get kind of close to where I want, and then once it's close, I'll mess with the field of view a little bit. And the field of view, there's a narrow band when I'm doing the cockpit views because I don't really like the super wide, stretched fisheye kind of a view. But I also don't like it so zoomed in that I can't see anything. So it gets a little bit difficult to get it just where you want it. But then once you do, it's well worth it. Another thing you can do is I want the camera angled down a little bit, and I don't have my track IR on. So if you push the mouse forward gently, you can kind of rotate the camera up, and then bring it back down with the keys like I just did there, and you can have like a little bit of a different view. Now, if you get to where you can see too much of the pilot's body, it can be a little distracting because the hands don't move with the controls as they should. So that can be a little bit weird, but let's turn those labels off. I wish that we had options to set up, like, say, up to 10 of these camera views for maybe for it gets weird because different modules will be different locations, but it'd be cool if for every module you could do like 5 or 10 camera views and lock them in and then hotkey them. I really wish that that was a feature, because it would make setting up this camera, a forward-looking cockpit camera, a couple weapon pylons camera, and a few body cameras on the body of the aircraft would be really awesome. Another thing to note is that I don't have my track IR on here, and that can be very beneficial. In the next clip, I have my track IR on, which can also be beneficial. It depends on what you're going for. But now that we've looked at in-cockpit views, we'll just look at a weapon pylon view just for grins. Okay, so we're going to go to the weapon pylon view, and I'm starting inside because I want to note which pylon is going to fire next. And it's this 7, I think is what that says, which is this inboard one that's left out here. So that one's 8, and this one's 7. There would have been another one to pop up there, but I've already fired that weapon, that aim 9, which I didn't realize I had aim 9s on the outboard pylon. But so you know, you need to pay attention to which pylon's going to fire next so that you can get out to it. Let's turn the banner off, and you can see my track IR bobbing around there a little bit. So here we go. We can look at both of these pylons at the same time if we want. Not that I don't think they're going to fire in succession. I think it's going to be 7, and then it'll go back over to the other side, I think. We'll play with the field of view a little bit, and let's see how this looks. So with track IR on, it can bob around a little bit, and that can be sort of problematic. But you can also follow missiles if you need to. So that shot looked pretty cool. We're going to pause it again, jump back in, and now, yeah, we're back over to the other side. So there's another plane out there, so we need to jump back to F4. It basically resets to where it was, and now let's go out to this pylon. Now on this one, I might try to zoom in a little bit. Whoops. So zooming in and zooming out with the field of view buttons, both of those have benefits too. I like to zoom in because you can see more of targets. You can see more of other aircraft. The problem is you cut off so much of the outside of the screen that you could also miss the action. So I miss a lot of action because I'm zoomed in. In this case, and you notice there that the zoom buttons are really, really fast when it's paused. So it can be a little bit tricky to get set up the way you want. I think, yeah, let's just get more of the plane and zoom out a little bit. That might be better anyway. And there's a cloud in the way that wasn't there before. And you can see I can kind of look with my track IR there, so that's kind of handy to have it on at times. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The last half of that video you didn't really need to watch because, you know, once you know the keys, you can play around with it and figure it out. But I did want to show a couple of options that you can do with that F4 camera that I really, really like. So we'll wrap it up, and honestly, enjoy. You know, have fun playing with those camera views. They're pretty slick, and I can't wait to see the other videos that are gonna pop out. You know, the more people get this kind of stuff figured out and start making really cool cinematography, whatever, making really good videos. So as always, I hope it was helpful, and thank you for watching.